we're going to start to look at the constitutional amendments. So let's turn now to one of those amendments, Amendment 13, which would ban greyhound racing in Florida by 2020. Animal rights activists say greyhound racing is little more than animal cruelty. They claim that state records show nearly 500 dogs have been killed at Florida racetracks since 2013, suffering broken legs, backs, and necks. Thousands more are believed to have been injured. Advocates for greyhound racing counter it as a storied part of the state's history, and many of those involved in greyhound racing go back generations. Owners claim they love and care for their dogs and don't allow them to be mistreated. More than 3,000 people are employed through greyhound racing, and it generates $11 million a year to the state of Florida. Now, we have a lot to cover on this amendment, so let's get right to it. Joining me this morning is Sonia Straitman, founder of Elite Greyhound Adoptions. She says she's been seeing for firsthand the cruelty and mistreatment at racetracks and believes the sport needs to end. Kurt Tresiak is a trainer at the Palm Beach Kennel Club. His family has been training greyhounds and caring for them for years. He opposes the amendment. I want to thank you both for coming in. I think this is one of those amendments that sort of fly under the radar for a lot of folks as they continue to worry about the governor's race, the Senate race, and some of the other things. But I wanted to put some attention on it. Sonia, I want to start with you. Talk to me about why you believe greyhound racing in the state of Florida needs to be banned.
I started a rescue 15 years ago. We've taken in over 2,300 greyhounds, my family and I, and we've just seen it for years. So many of the owners just don't want their dogs anymore once they're not profitable any longer. We've picked up so many that have been taken to local vets to be euthanized for injuries. We've just accepted so many dogs into our program that just were in really horrible conditions, and we definitely think it's time for it to end.
How did this amendment get on the ballot? Was it through an initiative process or
through the CRC?
Through congressional, the Constitutional Revision Commission.
Mm-hmm.
So the committee met and decided this was an issue that should go to the voters to decide.
Correct. I attended every meeting for the CRC, and the public definitely wanted this on the ballot.
And again, it needs 60% to pass, as every constitutional amendment does. Kurt, let me bring you in. You oppose this amendment. Tell me why.
Well, not only because I actually work in the industry, but I haven't seen the abuse that she alleges happened. I take, in my opinion, exemplary care of the dogs that I have in my care. It's my pride and joy to get up every morning and go into that kennel and take care of these dogs. And to a man, I think, and woman in these kennels, everybody should be doing that. And honestly, if she ever suspected that there was a problem, she should have turned somebody into the authorities, because I would do that if I saw it, and I have not seen the alleged instances that she speaks of.
Sonia?
Actually, I did try. I have gone to the FGA, and one of
Florida FGA is the Florida Greyhound Association.
Yes, the Florida Greyhound Association. It was a few years ago. I took in a greyhound that had been left untreated for a horribly broken leg. He had been taken to the track vet in Naples to be euthanized. That dog was owned by the president of the NGA, the National Greyhound Association, Julia Ward. I had 2 dogs come in, 3 dogs actually, but 2 were from her. I have never heard from her. The FGA did nothing about it. I have also gone to our local track, the Palm Beach Kennel Club. I take dogs, as you know, from the Palm Beach Kennel Club. I have gone to the Palm Beach Kennel Club for years since I started this. Unfortunately, you know, you guys, it's not illegal for you to take dogs, not you personally, but it's not illegal for these other trainers to take dogs and have them destroyed for their injuries. It's not illegal for them to be covered in fleas and ticks. It's, you know, this is nothing that the authorities can do.
Let me bring Kurt.
Okay, let me answer that. By the authorities, I mean the Department of Business and Professional Regulation. That's who should have been contacted. Not the tracks, not the FGA, because they are the governing body and they have the investigators who will go out and look. And they actually send inspectors to the kennels unannounced to look at the conditions in the kennels with the dogs and everything else.
Kurt, let me just ask you this. There have been, you said that you're not aware of any instances of abuse, but I know from reporting over the years on this industry, there have been some egregious examples, most notably the case in Ebro in 2010.
Yes, a very horrific case.
In which upwards of 30 animals were found dead because the trainer there, I don't think the trainer was necessarily evil as much as he was no longer profitable. He couldn't.
No, I would say he was evil.
Okay, and
I will say that.
And malnutrition, and those dogs ended up dying. He went to prison for 5 years. But
should have gone longer than that, in my opinion.
But there are other instances like that, and I want you to address one of the things that we often hear about is that dogs often are found to test positive for cocaine, and that also steroids are used.
Okay, well, it's accepted as a way to keep females from coming into heat, because a female that comes into heat in a kennel, you have a bunch of males, they get extremely aggressive. It's been accepted by veterinarians and to give testosterone to females in a pill form or a chewable form or what have you. And there's a debate back and forth on it, but nothing's been proven either way that I'll tell you this, it hasn't shown where females are performance enhancing, which they talk about. Or Sonia and her group suggest. They show
testosterone is performance enhancing. And
in the levels we
in
give, though, it's
greyhounds
not.
Is illegal in the UK, in Australia. It's illegal in equestrian sports. It's illegal in human sports. But Florida allows female greyhounds. Well, and honestly, it's not tested. And I have heard from trainers that the males, as they get older, do get the testosterone also because it is legal. So.
Well, let me ask you this.
I want to touch on one thing, and that's the cocaine positives,
Sure.
which were in such minute amounts. Nobody, I can tell you right now, no trainer in their right mind would give cocaine to a greyhound, knowing full well that they have testing procedures that are so stringent that would happen. What I would assume is that, to be quite honest with you, somebody who had contact with those greyhounds had a drug problem.
When you see, like we showed some video earlier, these dogs can go 40 miles an hour. They hit those turns. It's not uncommon for them to tumble, spin out of control, break legs, have serious injuries. And one of the problems is we don't know the extent of the injuries because the Greyhound Association in Florida has long opposed, reporting requirements on the injuries.
I want
correct?
to touch on that.
Sure.
2016, they were trying to pass the injury reporting bill, which was sponsored by anti-racing activists. We had our own bill that included injury reporting, but we also had new safety procedures that were supposed to be taken at the tracks, and the anti-racing organizations opposed it because they just want the injury reporting. Now, some tracks like Palm Beach Kennel Club have instituted some of the safety procedures which we talk about.
Let me bring you in.
I know what you're talking about, the
Smith Raider safety,
right.
yeah.
Have you read the death report? Have you gone over all the causes of death for the 493 greyhounds who have died since 2013?
2013, and how many greyhounds have gone into and out of Florida?
493 greyhounds have died, and I actually went through the death report, and many of the dogs, it doesn't list a cause, but majority of the dogs, there were only 4 that died from electrocution, which is horrific. I mean, not one should have, but that is what the leading cause of death for these dogs are, just as you said, the injury, the broken backs, the legs, the necks. There is about 10% of the dogs that died in the crates alone at night. I looked at this, the cause of death found dead in its crate. That is horrific, and you justify it because.
But I mean, couldn't your pet dog at home die overnight on the couch?
But these are 2- and 3-year-old dogs. They're young dogs, aren't they?
But that can still happen. I had a dog that had cancer on its liver.
We only have about 20 seconds.
With you and your home, with a family,
Yes.
These dogs are living in a building stacked with cages.
And I'm with
dying
them
alone
14
in
and
there.
15 hours a day.
And they're dying alone at night.
I'll give you the last word. I'll give you the last
Okay.
word. 15 seconds. Just
15 seconds. It's a beautiful sport. It's been blown out of proportion what people are accusing us of and saying. These dogs are loved, handled. Over 90 Greyhound adoption groups in North America are opposed to this.
Okay. I want to thank you both for coming in.
Thank you.
It's an important issue. Please learn more about it. You can find out more. We'll tell you how. When we come